All right, here we are, another Thursday. Boy, that music was rocking today.
That was good music. You're right.
Hey, it's Thursday, so you know what that means? No Like and Trust Thursday. So what we do is we try to showcase somebody here local in Medina County, in or around Medina County, that is somebody that we not only know, but we like and we trust. And today we have Stacey Streeter.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Blaze, what she does, Stacey Streeter's with Oasis Senior Advisors, and it's becoming a more and more needed position. So this is great that she's willing to come on here and talk to our sphere. So this is awesome. So Isaiah, why don't you bring Stacey in?
Hey, Stacey, how are you?
Hi, awesome.
Welcome,
hey,
Stacey.
Can you put Cheech on mute for a second so he can't talk? Because his kids called me and asked me specifically to ask Stacey. They need help placing their dad in a senior care facility because he's getting a little bit older.
Now remember what I'm looking for: a 3-to-1 ratio, women to men. All right.
So Stacey, you help place elderly people, older people into different situations that are better off than maybe living at home alone or something. Is that correct? Can you tell us what it is that you do?
Exactly. Yeah, we like to be the starting point when somebody is thinking, mom and dad are not safe at home. Like, where do I begin? A good place to call is Oasis. And we're just going to talk about what the care needs are. What does the budget look like, the time frame, and just, have a conversation. And then from there, we can start to make referrals to the right people. If you don't have your power of attorney in place, we might refer an attorney. We might help you with some funding options. If you need resources, you might have some veterans benefits, some long-term care insurance or a life insurance policy. And there are ways that we can leverage that to help pay for care. So each situation's different, but we'll be the point of contact for the family so their phone's not ringing off a hook with all kinds of places calling them. We'll filter that through to save them like some of the frustration and time. We schedule tours at assisted living, and we go with the family just as extra eyes and ears, and to be able to just help them sort through what the options are without giving them an opinion about it.
You said something there that I think is real. Well, you said a few things that I think are real important. But one, you being the point of contact. I've heard from multiple seniors that they'll go on the internet. They'll send an email or follow up with one of the first ads that appear, and then their phone doesn't stop ringing from all sorts of people.
Not only that, I've heard that even if they do Google or whatever it is, they'll send somebody up to date to try to show facilities here locally that they have no idea about, where you're here local and you visit these facilities on a daily basis, I'm guessing. So your opinion, your relationship there, your understanding of the services is much greater than what they're going to get if they Google it, right?
That is very true. I go in and out of the communities all the time. I've taken notes, and I know the square footage, the pricing, who takes pets, if they're smoking, every little detail, and especially like what type of care level they offer. So,
and one thing you mentioned too is you help them figure out a budget, which means you're also looking for avenues to help them finance. They might not realize that they can use their VA.
Exactly. So we can help them uncover some ways they might not know about. And we also provide education. Okay, so people don't realize what might happen if they do run out of funds. They need to make sure that they know up front how long their money is going to last, because we want to help them find a place that they won't have to leave. So knowing that up front, we can work within those parameters to point them in the right direction.
Right.
So Stacey, a lot of people, when they're referring to their parents or something, nobody ever wants to put their parents in a home. a nursing home. You know, they look at it as like it's a negative. But from your experience, is it?
Yeah, I think long-term care has changed so much over the past like 30, 40 years. So where it used to be like the nursing home was your only option, now there are just so many different things that have been added to the senior living landscape. I mean, there's short-term care and, home care, there's adult daycare, there's assisted living and memory care and independent living. So that's one of the main things that I like to do is just, first of all, tell people what the options are and then kind of guide them to how much do each of these things cost. So you can start to develop a plan for your future.
And it really isn't like the old style nursing care. I mean, I visited a number of them. I know you've gone to at least one with me, Blaze, when you were trying to put me away.
I felt like we were on a cruise ship when we went to that.
I know. I was ready to move right then and there.
I was ready to put you in there right then and there.
It's like the college dorm for seniors. It
was, yeah. It was a lot of fun. Everybody was smiling. And often you go to a family member's house when they live alone, and it's lonely. I mean, they're sitting there by themselves. And if somebody comes to visit, it's good. But what goes on the rest of the day when they're just there by themselves? When they're in a facility like that, there's activities, there's friendships, there's all kinds of stuff going on. It just doesn't feel like the way people describe it. We're putting our parents into a home. It's actually putting them into a better situation.
Right. Exactly. And people really do. They start to make friends, and just some small adjustments in their care. Like when they were living at home, maybe they weren't taking their meds, regularly and accurately. And just having somebody help them with that can really improve their physical well-being. And then they have the social setting there to really thrive.
Yeah. And I think that social setting is going to help them live a better life, really. Now, I'm assuming you have to deal with a lot of the children. How's that?
Yeah, so usually it is oftentimes the adult daughter, but the adult child. If it's, if it's something more like independent living, I might be working with a senior or a couple to help them find independent living. But, a lot of times it's the children that are coming to me, just not knowing where to begin.
Right. Yeah. And Blaze and I are both have parents that are at that age where it's becoming something that we're thinking about. And that's why you are such a resource. And I hope our people out there take advantage of this. Speaking of that, what's it cost them to hire you?
It's actually, there's no charge for families to work with us. So we'll never send them an invoice, which is why I was really excited about this when I stumbled across this business model, where I could find something that people really need. And I feel like I could really make a difference in helping people. And then I don't have to charge them, because I know that would be a huge deterrent. When you find out the cost of assisted living, it's pretty daunting. So the last thing you would want to do is put more money out.
Right. What made you think about getting into this?
Well, it's kind of like what you alluded to before that happened to me. I had a family member that I was looking for care options. And yeah, you go onto Google, you put your information on, you're just trying to get the pricing. It's like, all I want to know is how much does this cost? So you fill out the form. Next thing you know, your information is blasted out there to so many different communities. They all have your contact information. And so they're all calling, and it might not even be anywhere where you're looking. And I found it wasn't even in my budget. So I wasted a lot of time on the phone and actually going to places that weren't in my budget. So what we try to do is the opposite, reduce you only have to deal with one person. And instead of giving you 20 options, I'm going to take those options and try to narrow it down to the 3 best options. So let's make this less overwhelming and more manageable, and only look at the places that are going to be a good fit for our care and our budget.
Yeah. And the nice thing is you're going with them to every interview to see the space. So you're there kind of like a fiduciary or a protector of them.
Yeah, I do. I think that we can really advocate for the family, make sure they're not going into like making a rash decision, signing any papers. We can, after the tours, go back and review, just like, probably how you do as a realtor, just like, let's recap. This place had these pros and cons. You didn't like that. Remember this happened, because a lot of these people are like in such an emotional state. You go on a tour and half of it just, you're just paying attention. All these thoughts are going through your head like, oh, how's this going to be? And so those details kind of fall through the cracks. And sometimes the family might forget to ask certain questions. So I'm there to like prompt, like, if I know something was really important to the family, I can bring that up during the tour.
Well, that's fantastic. If any of our sphere is looking for Stacey, we have Stacey's contact information. Reach out to us. Well, I've got trucks passing me. As you can see, I'm out on the road at the moment. But yeah, Stacey, this has been great. Is there anything else you need to let us know here at this point?
I just want people to know I'm here to provide like education and guidance. So, if you just have questions, I'm happy to, explain any of these options or services. But start to think of a plan B, just because you never know what might happen next week. And it's not something you want to think about like on the fly. Sometimes there's wait lists, and these things just take time. So
Right.
Let's start to review the options. Let's start to think about how we're going to pay for this if it comes up, just so that you can have the information available.
All right. And we're going to also tag you in this post so that if people want to reach out to you directly, they can.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Stacey. That gives us some great information. I'm sure we'll have you back again. We try to keep these between 10 and 15 minutes, and we're right at 12 minutes. So that's perfect.
Okay. We did it.
Appreciate your time, and we'll do this again soon.
Thanks. My first time doing
Stace.
it. You guys made it easy.
Good.
Awesome.
Good. Thanks.
And now find me a place that Blaze can put me in.
Okay. Start looking.
All right.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you.
Thanks, guys.